My friends, tonight is not an ordinary night. Tonight is a night of divine fulfillment, a night where the heavens open and the promises of God come to life. The Lord has spoken and His word does not return void. His promises are true, His timing is perfect, and His power knows no bounds. If you have been waiting, if you have been praying, if you have been pressing forward in faith, I want you to listen closely, because tonight is the night of manifestation. God has seen your tears. He has heard your cries in the midnight hour. He has watched as you remain faithful even when everything around you seemed to fall apart. He has seen the moments when you wanted to give up, when the burden felt too heavy, when the enemy whispered lies into your ears telling you that God had forgotten you. But I am here to tell you that God has not forgotten you. He has been working behind the scenes, orchestrating things in your favor, preparing a reward that will exceed your imagination. Some of you have been waiting for years. You have labored in faith, sowing seeds of righteousness, standing firm in the storm, refusing to bow down to doubt. You have held on even when you didn't understand, but hear me tonight, your season of waiting is over. The word of God declares that those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not grow weary. They shall walk and not faint. Tonight, the waiting is coming to an end, and the fulfillment of God's promise is at hand. You have held on. And now, my dear brothers and sisters, you're about to see the hand of God move in your life in a way that will leave you in awe. Think of Abraham, a man to whom God made a promise, a man who waited years for his blessing to come to pass. He did not waver in unbelief, but grew strong in faith, giving glory to God, being fully persuaded that what God had promised, He was also able to perform. And just as God was faithful to Abraham, He will be faithful to you. His promises do not expire. His word does not change. What He has spoken over your life will come to pass. I know some of you have been through the fire. You have faced loss, pain, betrayal, disappointment. You have walked through the valley of the shadow of death, wondering if you would ever make it out. But I am here to tell you that the valley is not your final destination. The pain was only preparation for the promise. The suffering was setting you up for the reward. God was refining you, strengthening you, positioning you for the blessing that is about to be poured out upon your life. Remember the story of Joseph. He had a dream, a promise from God, but he was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and imprisoned. It looked like everything was going against him. It seemed like the promise was slipping away. But what Joseph didn't know was that God was using every setback as a setup. Every hardship was leading him closer to the fulfillment of what God had spoken. And when the time was right, God lifted Joseph up, placing him in a position of power and blessing, fulfilling every promise. My friend, if you have been in the pit, if you have been in the prison, if you have felt forgotten, know that your palace moment is coming. God is about to elevate you. He is about to restore what was stolen. He is about to bring you into a season of victory that will silence every doubt and every enemy that ever questioned your faith. There is no power in hell that can stop the promises of God. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. No storm is greater than the voice of the Almighty. When God says it is time, nothing can stand in the way. Tonight is that time. Tonight the chains are breaking. Tonight the doors are opening. Tonight the floodgates of heaven are releasing what has been stored up for you. You have prayed, you have believed, you have waited, and now it is time to receive. But I must ask you, are you ready? Are you prepared to walk in the blessing? Are you positioned to receive what God has been holding for you? Because the promise is not just about you, it is about His glory. It is about His kingdom. It is about His plan. When God blesses you, it is not just for your benefit, but for the benefit of those around you. The miracle that is about to take place in your life is meant to be a testimony to the world that God is still on the throne, that He is still moving, that He is still faithful to His word. Do not doubt, do not fear, do not let the enemy convince you that this word is for someone else and not for you. The devil is a liar, and he wants you to believe that you are unworthy, that you are too broken, that you have made too many mistakes. But let me tell you something, God does not choose based on human standards. He does not look at your past. He does not count your failures against you. His grace is sufficient, and His mercy is new every morning. If He has spoken a promise over your life, then nothing can cancel it. If He has declared a blessing, then no force on earth can reverse it. What God has planned for you is still on schedule, and tonight He is saying, get ready. When the Israelites stood on the edge of the promised land, God told them to prepare. He was about to fulfill what He had spoken, but they had to be ready to step into it. Some of them doubted. Some of them feared, and because of their unbelief, they missed out on what God had prepared. Do not let doubt rob you tonight. Do not let fear steal what is rightfully yours. If God has said it, then believe it. If He has promised it, then receive it. He is not a man that He should lie. His word is eternal, unshakable, unstoppable. Tonight, as you stand in faith, as you lift your hands as surrender, as you open your heart in expectation, I declare that miracles will happen. Healing will take place. Restoration will begin. Doors will open. Chains will fall. The time has come. The season is shifted. God's promise will manifest, and your reward will be in your hands. Do not walk away from this moment unchanged. Do not let this night pass without taking hold of what God has spoken. If you are ready, if you are willing, if you believe, then stand firm in faith and declare, Lord, I am ready. Because, my dear brothers and sisters, tonight is the night you have been praying for. Tonight is the night heaven moves on your behalf. Tonight is the night God's promise manifests before your very eyes. Prepare yourself because your reward is here. Tonight is the night God's promise will manifest before your eyes. The very thing you have prayed for, the breakthrough you have longed for, the answer you have been waiting on tonight is the night it comes forth. There are no more delays, no more setbacks, no more waiting in uncertainty. The heavens have declared it. And when God speaks, nothing in existence can stand against it. What He has set in motion cannot be stopped. What He has ordained will be fulfilled. The forces of darkness have tried to hinder it. The enemy has whispered lies into your ears, making you question whether you are worthy, whether God has truly heard you, whether His promise was ever real in the first place. But tonight, every lie of the enemy is silenced, every doubt is removed, every fear is cast aside because God is moving in your life in ways you could not have imagined. Look back at the journey that has brought you to this very moment. Every tear you have cried, every struggle you have endured, every night you have laid awake wondering when things would change, God saw it all. He was never distant. He was never absent. He was never unaware. He has been watching over you, orchestrating every detail, preparing you, molding you, strengthening you for this very moment. The pain you endured was not in vain. The hardships were not pointless. The suffering was not wasted. They were all part of the divine process, shaping you into the vessel that could receive what God had in store. Sometimes God delays the manifestation of His promise, not because He has forgotten, but because He is ensuring that you are truly ready to receive it. What good is a blessing if you are not in the position to handle it? What good is an answered prayer if your heart is not prepared to walk in it? God in His infinite wisdom has been aligning every part of your life so that when the blessing comes, it will not only be received but sustained. You may have felt like you were in the wilderness, wandering, searching, hoping for a glimpse of His promise. The Israelites knew what it was like to wait on God's promise, to see it from a distance, to hold on to His word even when everything around them looked the opposite. They had moments of doubt, moments of weakness, moments when they questioned if God was still leading them. But those who remained steadfast, those who chose to trust Him despite what they saw, those who held on to faith, even when the journey felt endless, those were the ones who stepped into the land flowing with milk and honey. And tonight you stand on the edge of your own promised land. You stand on the verge of the greatest breakthrough of your life. What you thought was impossible, what you thought was delayed indefinitely, what you thought was beyond your reach tonight, it comes forth. Faith is the key that unlocks the door. God does not respond to worry, to anxiety, to fear. He responds to faith. It is faith that moves mountains, faith that opens doors, faith that shifts circumstances in an instant. Do you believe tonight? Do you truly believe that this is your moment, that this is your divine appointment, that everything is aligning for the manifestation of His promise in your life? Because if you believe, if you hold on to His word with unwavering trust, you will see it happen before your very eyes. He has said in His word that nothing is too hard for Him. Nothing is beyond His reach. He can turn mourning into dancing in a moment. He can restore what was lost in an instant. He can make a way where there was no way. If He parted the Red Sea for His people, if He brought water from a rock, if He raised the dead to life, what is your situation compared to His power? What is your obstacle compared to the God who created the heavens and the earth? There is nothing that can stand against Him. The enemy has tried to keep you distracted. He has tried to make you feel unworthy. He has tried to convince you that God has forgotten you, that your situation is too difficult, that your past disqualifies you from His blessing. But the devil is a liar. He knows what is coming. He knows that your breakthrough is near. He knows that the manifestation of God's promise in your life will be a testimony that shakes the foundations of those around you. That is why He fought you so hard. That is why the opposition has been great. That is why the warfare has been intense. Because He saw what was coming before you did. But what God has promised, no devil in hell can stop. What God has ordained, no enemy can delay. If He has spoken, it must come to pass. Think about the miracles in the Bible, the moments where all seemed lost, where it looked like there was no hope. And yet God showed up in the most unexpected way. The woman with the issue of blood had suffered for 12 years. She had spent all she had searching for healing, searching for relief, searching for a way out of her suffering. But the day she reached out in faith, the day she touched the hem of Jesus' garment, everything changed in an instant. Tonight you are touching the hem of His garment. Tonight your faith is pulling down your miracle. Tonight your season is shifting. Blind Bartimaeus sat by the roadside shouting, calling out for mercy. People told him to be quiet, to stop making a scene, to lower his expectations. But he refused. He kept calling out. He refused to let his moment pass him by. And because of his persistence, because of his faith, he received his sight. Do not let doubt silence you tonight. Do not let fear hold you back. Do not let the voices of those around you convince you that God's promise is not for you. Press in. Believe. Declare it with confidence. Tonight is the night. When Peter had been fishing all night and caught nothing, he must have felt frustrated, exhausted, discouraged. But when Jesus told him to cast his net on the other side, everything changed. One act of obedience led to an overflow of blessings so great that he could barely contain it. You have labored. You have toiled. You have held on even when you saw no results. But tonight, God is telling you to cast your net again. Tonight, he's telling you to step out in faith one more time. Because this time the nets will be full. This time the blessing will be too great to contain. This time the promise will manifest before your very eyes. Some of you have felt like Lazarus in the tomb, buried under the weight of delay, trapped in a season that felt lifeless, surrounded by situations that seemed hopeless. But when Jesus called Lazarus forth, what was dead came back to life. And tonight he is calling you forth. He is calling forth your dreams, your purpose, your promise. What seemed buried, what seemed impossible, what seemed over, tonight, it rises again. Do not be surprised when everything begins to shift. Do not be shocked when doors that were once closed suddenly swing open. Do not be caught off guard when favor begins to find you, when the things you prayed for start to manifest in ways you never expected. This is what happens when God moves. This is what happens when his timing aligns with your season. This is what happens when faith meets divine appointment. You may feel unworthy. You may feel like you don't deserve it. You may feel like you have made too many mistakes, fallen too many times, missed too many opportunities. But God's grace is greater than your failures. His mercy is greater than your shortcomings. His love is greater than any mistake you have ever made. If he has chosen to bless you, no one can stand against it. If he has decided that tonight is the night, then there is nothing that can stop it. Look around you, everything is changing. The atmosphere is shifting. Heaven is moving. The angels are rejoicing. What you have been believing for, what you have been waiting on, what you have been holding on to in faith, it is happening right now. The chains are breaking. The doors are opening. The floodgates are releasing. The promise is manifesting. This is your night. This is your moment. This is your divine appointment. Tonight is the night God's promise will manifest before your eyes. Be ready to step into your promise when God opens the door. The moment you have been waiting for is closer than you think. The prayers you have prayed, the sacrifices you have made, the patience you have endured, everything has been leading up to this. God is not a man that he should lie, nor the son of man that he should repent. If he has spoken it, it must come to pass. The door will open, and when it does, you must be ready. This is not the time for hesitation, not the time for doubt, not the time to question whether you are worthy. This is the time to move, the time to act, the time to step boldly into what God has prepared for you. So many people miss their moment because they are not ready when God moves. They have prayed, they have cried, they have asked for breakthrough, but when the door swings open, they hesitate. Fear grips them. Doubt creeps in. They start to question whether they are truly capable, whether they are strong enough, whether they have what it takes to walk through. But when God opens a door, he has already equipped you to walk through it. He has already given you everything you need. He does not open doors for the unprepared. He does not set opportunities before those who cannot handle them. If he has placed it before you, he has already given you the strength to step into it. Think about the Israelites standing before the promised land. They had wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. They had survived trials, endured hardships, witnessed miracles, and then finally they stood at the edge of their promise. But what happened? Some of them hesitated. Some of them doubted. Some of them saw the giants in the land and convinced themselves that they could not enter. They forgot that the same God who parted the Red Sea, the same God who provided manna from heaven, the same God who led them with a pillar of fire by night and a cloud by day, he was the same God who had promised them the land. And because of their hesitation, because of their fear, many of them never stepped into the promise. How many times has fear held you back? How many times have you been on the verge of your breakthrough, on the edge of your blessing, only to let doubt talk you out of it? The enemy knows he cannot close the doors that God opens for you. He knows he cannot stop God's plan for your life. But if he can make you afraid, if he can make you hesitate, if he can make you doubt, then he knows he can keep you from stepping into your promise. Do not let fear rob you of what is yours. Do not let hesitation cause you to miss your moment. When God opens the door, walk through it. Do not wait for the perfect conditions. Do not wait until everything makes sense. Do not wait until you feel fully prepared. If God has opened the door, that means the time is now. He does not call the qualified, He qualifies the called. He does not wait until you feel ready. He calls you in His timing, not yours. Peter understood this when Jesus called him out onto the water. The winds were strong, the waves were high. Logic told him it was impossible. But when Jesus said, "Come," Peter stepped out. He did not wait for the sea to calm. He did not wait for reassurance. He moved the moment Jesus called. And as long as his eyes were on Jesus, he walked on water. The impossible became possible because he moved in obedience. But the moment he looked at the waves, the moment he let fear creep in, he began to sink. How many of us have started to step into our promise only to let fear pull us back? How many times have we started strong only to retreat when we saw the challenges ahead? But the same God who called Peter onto the water is the same God who calls you into your destiny. He will not let you sink. He will not let you fall. The key is to keep your eyes on Him. Do not look at the obstacles. Do not focus on the challenges. Do not listen to the voices of doubt. Fix your eyes on Jesus and move forward. God is a God of open doors. He is a God of divine opportunities. But He is also a God who requires action. Faith without works is dead. It is not enough to believe for the promise. You must step into it. When God told Abraham to leave his home and go to the land He would show him, Abraham did not hesitate. He did not ask for all the details. He did not wait until he had a full map of the journey. He moved in faith. And because of that obedience, he became the father of many nations. His promise came to pass because he was willing to step out when God called. There are doors in front of you that you have been praying for, but God is waiting on you to move. Some of you are standing before open doors, but you are still waiting for a sign, still waiting for confirmation, still waiting for everything to feel safe. But faith is not safe. Faith requires risk. Faith requires trust. Faith requires you to step into the unknown, believing that the God who called you will sustain you. David understood this when he faced Goliath. He did not wait until he had the best armor. He did not wait until he had more experience. He did not wait until he felt strong enough. He stepped forward with what he had, a sling and 5 stones, and because he moved in faith, God gave him the victory. Some of you are waiting for the right resources, waiting for the right connections, waiting until you feel stronger, but God is saying, use what you have. Step forward with what I have given you. I will take care of the rest. The enemy wants you to believe that you are not ready. He wants you to believe that you need more time, that you need more preparation, that you need more resources. But God says, I have already given you what you need. The door is open. The opportunity is here. The only thing left is for you to step into it. When God opens a door, no one can close it. No enemy can shut it. No opposition can block it. But what good is an open door if you refuse to walk through it? What good is a blessing if you are too afraid to receive it? What good is a promise if you allow doubt to hold you back? The time is now. The moment is here. Do not let another season pass you by. Do not let fear hold you in a place that you were never meant to stay. Do not let the lies of the enemy keep you from what God has ordained for you. If the door is open, it is because God has declared that it is time. Move, step forward, walk in faith. The promise is waiting. Do not let doubt or fear rob you of what is rightfully yours. You have prayed for it. You have longed for it. You have cried out for it. And God has heard you. But now, as the moment of manifestation approaches, the enemy whispers in your ear, telling you that you are not ready, that you are not worthy, that it is too good to be true. He knows that he cannot take what God has given you, so he tries to convince you to surrender it yourself. He fills your mind with doubt, your heart with fear, your soul with hesitation, hoping that you will shrink back, hoping that you will let go of what is already yours. Fear is the enemy's greatest weapon, paralyzes, it cripples, it keeps you stuck in a place you were never meant to stay. It causes you to second guess, to overthink, to hesitate when you should be moving forward. It makes you see obstacles where there are none, magnifies the challenges, and convinces you that the journey is too hard. But God has not given you a spirit of fear. He has given you power, love, and a sound mind. That means fear is not from Him. It is a lie from the enemy, a trick designed to keep you from stepping into what God has already promised you. Doubt works in the same way. It makes you question whether you really heard God, whether you really deserve the blessing, whether the promise was really meant for you. It whispers that you are not good enough, not strong enough, not capable enough to handle what is coming your way. It makes you focus on your weaknesses instead of God's strength, on your limitations instead of His unlimited power. But God does not make mistakes. He does not promise things He does not intend to fulfill. If He said it, He will do it. If he declared it, it will come to pass. The only thing that can stop you is you if you allow fear and doubt to take control. So many people have let fear and doubt steal their blessings. They stood on the edge of their breakthrough, but instead of stepping forward, they stepped back. They let insecurity convince them that they were not ready. They let fear make them believe that failure was inevitable. They let the voices of others drown out the voice of God. And because of that, they missed what was rightfully theirs. The children of Israel were given a land flowing with milk and honey. It was theirs. God had already declared it, but when they sent spies to scout the land, 10 of them came back full of doubt, for a fear full of negative reports. They saw giants instead of victory. They saw obstacles instead of opportunities. And their fear spread through the camp like wildfire, infecting the hearts of the people. Instead of stepping into their promise, they let fear hold them back, and because of that, they wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. But there were 2, Joshua and Caleb, who refused to be ruled by doubt and fear. They saw the same land, the same giants, the same obstacles, but instead of seeing defeat, they saw victory. Instead of seeing impossibility, they saw God's power. And because they believed, because they had faith, they were the only ones from that generation who stepped into the promise. The others let doubt rob them, let fear steal what was meant to be theirs. But Joshua and Caleb refused. What has God promised you? What doors has He opened for you? Are you standing at the edge of your promise only to let fear and doubt hold you back? The enemy will try everything to make you question yourself. He will bring up your past, remind you of your failures, tell you that you are not qualified, that you are not strong enough, that you are not ready. But if God has called you, you are ready. If God has prepared the way, you are equipped. If God has spoken the promise, it is already yours. David could have let fear rob him of his destiny. He was just a shepherd boy, overlooked, underestimated, counted out by men. When he stood before Goliath, he had every reason to be afraid. The giant was bigger, stronger, more experienced. The army of Israel trembled in fear, convinced that victory was impossible. But David refused to be intimidated. He refused to let fear control him. He stepped forward, not in his own strength, but in the name of the Lord. And because he moved in faith, because he did not allow doubt to take root in his heart, he defeated the giant and stepped into his calling. Fear and doubt are nothing but thieves. They will rob you of your joy, your peace, your destiny if you let them. But you have the power to shut them out. You have the power to declare, I will not be afraid, for the Lord is with me. I will not doubt, for I know whom I have believed. God has not brought you this far to leave you. He has not given you a promise only to take it away. He is faithful. He is unchanging. What He said, He will do. The enemy knows that if you ever truly believe this, if you ever fully step into the confidence of what God has given you, there is nothing he can do to stop you. He knows that once you move in faith, mountains will move, strongholds will break, doors will open. That is why he fights so hard to keep you afraid. That's why he fills your mind with doubts. Because if he can make you question God's promise, if he can make you hesitate, then he knows he has already won. But you do not belong to fear. You do not belong to doubt. You belong to God, and he has given you victory. He has given you authority over every lie of the enemy. He has given you the power to step into what is rightfully yours. The battle has already been won. The promise has already been declared. The only thing left is for you to take possession of it. The woman with the issue of blood could have let fear and doubt keep her from her miracle. She had suffered for 12 years, tried everything, spent all she had. She could have convinced herself that it was hopeless, that nothing would change, that she would always be in pain. But she refused to let doubt steal what was hers. She pushed through the crowd, reached out, and touched the hem of Jesus' garment. And in that moment, she was healed. Her faith made her whole. She did not let fear stop her. She did not let doubt hold her back. She moved forward, and because of that, she received her promise. Blind Bartimaeus could have let doubt keep him from his healing. He was sitting on the roadside begging when he heard that Jesus was passing by. He cried out, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me, but the crowd told him to be quiet. They tried to silence him, to discourage him. That was the enemy trying to make him doubt. But Bartimaeus did not listen. He cried out even louder, and because of his persistence, Jesus stopped and healed him. How many times has the enemy tried to silence you? How many times has doubt tried to convince you that your miracle is out of reach? Do not let it cry out to God. Reach out in faith. Step forward into what he has promised. The enemy will always try to intimidate you when you are on the brink of breakthrough. Right before the greatest blessings come the greatest attacks. Right before the miracle, the enemy tries to shake your faith. He wants to make you give up before you see the manifestation. But do not give up. Do not surrender what is yours. The promise has already been made. The door has already been opened. Do not let fear keep you from walking through it. God has already written your story. He has already laid out the path. The blessings with your name on them are waiting. The breakthrough you have been praying for is within reach. The enemy has no power to take it from you. The only thing he can do is try to make you give it up yourself. But you are not called to live in fear. You are not called to live in doubt. You are called to walk in boldness, to step forward in faith, to take possession of what is rightfully yours. You have come too far to turn back now. You have prayed too long to let doubt steal what is yours. You have fought too hard to let fear rob you of your promise. The time is now. The moment is here. You must believe, you must trust, you must step forward. The enemy cannot stop you if you refuse to stop yourself. The doors are open, the promise is waiting, and God is ready to do what he said he would do. Your blessing is not just for you, but for God's glory and his kingdom. Every good and perfect gift comes from above, and when God blesses you, it is not only for your benefit, but for his greater purpose. He does not pour out his favor so that it remains hidden, but so that his name may be glorified. What he places in your hands is not only for your personal joy and satisfaction, but for the expansion of his kingdom, the strengthening of his people, and the testimony of his power. Many seek blessings with a mindset focused only on personal gain, believing that prosperity, success, and abundance are solely for their own comfort. But the truth is, God does not give without purpose. When he blesses you, he is positioning you as a vessel through which he can work. He is entrusting you with something that carries a divine assignment, something that must be used to draw others closer to him. He does not waste his blessings. Every promotion, every breakthrough, every provision is given with the expectation that it will serve a greater purpose. Abraham was blessed beyond measure, but his blessing was never meant to stop with him. God told him, I will bless you and you will be a blessing. That is the pattern of God's kingdom. When he elevates you, he does so with the intention that you will lift others. When he provides for you, it is so that you will become a source of provision for those in need. When he anoints you, it is so that you will carry his power into the lives of others. Your blessing is not just for you. It is a tool to bring light to a dark world, to bring hope where there is despair, to build what has been torn down. Joseph was given favor, but that favor was never just about him. God had a greater plan. His journey was filled with trials, betrayals, and hardships, but every step was leading him to a position where he could not only be blessed, but could be a blessing to an entire nation. When famine struck the land, Joseph was positioned in Egypt to provide food, not just for himself, not just for his family, but for multitudes. His blessing became a lifeline to those who would have perished. His favor was not for selfish gain, but for God's greater purpose. When God blesses you, he is entrusting you with influence, resources, wisdom, and favor that must be used according to his will. He desires that his name be made known, that his goodness be seen through what he has placed in your hands. If you receive and keep it only for yourself, you are limiting what God wants to do. He gives so that you may give. He pours out so that you may pour into others. He raises you up so that you may raise up those around you. The disciples were given authority to heal the sick, to cast out demons, to proclaim the good news. But that power was never meant to be kept to themselves. They were called to go out, to share, to spread the kingdom of God wherever they went. What they received freely, they were instructed to give freely. And as they did, the kingdom expanded, lives were changed, and the name of Jesus was glorified. The same applies today. When God blesses you, he expects you to use that blessing for his glory, to let it be a testimony of his power, to let it be a light that leads others to him. Hannah longed for a child, and when God opened her womb, she did not keep that blessing for herself. She dedicated her son Samuel to the Lord's service. Her blessing became an instrument in the hands of God, and Samuel grew to be a mighty prophet who led Israel. Her personal miracle became a national blessing because she understood that what God gives is not meant to be hoarded, but to be given back for his purpose. Many times people pray for blessings, but when they receive them, they forget their purpose. They pray for financial increase, but when it comes, they use it only for personal desires rather than kingdom work. They pray for promotion, but when they receive it, they forget to be a light in that position. They ask for opportunities, but when the door opens, they use it only for self-advancement rather than for impacting others. God does not bless so that we become self-centered. He blesses so that we may be a conduit of his grace and power. Your talents, your gifts, your resources, everything you have been given are meant to bring glory to God. The enemy wants you to believe that blessings are just about personal success, about acquiring more, about living in comfort. But that is a deception. The true purpose of a blessing is to further the kingdom, to spread the gospel, to reach the lost, to uplift the broken. When God entrusts you with something, he is watching to see how you will use it. Will you be like the servant who buried his talent in the ground, afraid to multiply what was given? Or will you be like the faithful servant who took what he was given and used it to bring increase? The early church understood the principle of blessings. When they received, they did not keep it for themselves. They shared, they gave, they ensured that no one among them was in need. And because of that, the church grew in power, in unity, and in favor. They knew that blessings were not meant to be stored up for personal gain, but were meant to be used for the greater good. Solomon was blessed with wisdom, wealth, and influence, but his blessing had a purpose. He built the temple of the Lord, creating a place where people could worship, where God's presence could dwell among his people. His blessing was not just for him, it was for the glory of God. And when he used it according to God's purpose, his kingdom flourished. But when he began to turn away, when he began to misuse what God had given him, when he allowed his heart to drift from the true purpose of his blessing, his kingdom suffered. God is looking for people he can trust with blessings. He is searching for those who will say, Lord, if you bless me, I will use it for your glory. If you increase me, I will use it to build your kingdom. If you open doors for me, I will use them to bring others closer to you. He does not bless so that we can become comfortable. He blesses so that we can step into our calling, so that we can be his hands and feet on this earth, so that we can be a reflection of his love and goodness. The widow of Zarephath had very little, just a handful of flour and a little oil. But when she gave it to the prophet, when she released it for God's purpose, it multiplied. She and her son never lacked again. That is the principle of blessings. When you release what God has given you, when you use it for his kingdom, it does not run dry. It increases, it expands, it overflows. God does not call us to hoard blessings, but to be a blessing. When he pours into your life, it is meant to flow through you to others. When he anoints you, it is so that you can impact lives. When he lifts you up, it is so that you can lift others. And when you use your blessing for his glory, he continues to pour out more. Those who give are never in lack. Those who bless others are continually blessed. Those who build the kingdom never find themselves empty. God's blessings are not small, they are not limited, they are not just for a select few. But he blesses according to purpose. He does not give where there is no vision. He does not increase where there is no willingness to be a vessel. If you want to walk in true blessings, you must be ready to use what he gives for his will. You must be willing to say, Lord, use me. Let my life be a testimony. Let my resources be for your work. Let my influence be for your name. Let my success point back to you. Everything you have is because of him. Every door that is open, every opportunity that has come, every breakthrough you have experienced, it is all because of him. And he desires that his name be glorified through your life. He desires that your blessing be a testimony of his goodness. He desires that others look at what he has done for you and see his power at work. When you walk in his blessings with the right heart, when you recognize that everything you have is for his glory, you position yourself for even greater favor. You position yourself for continuous overflow. You step into the place where your blessing becomes a tool for transformation, where your life becomes a light to others, where your success becomes an avenue for salvation. God is ready to bless those who are ready to be a blessing. He is ready to increase those who will use that increase for his purpose. He is ready to open doors for those who will walk through them with kingdom-mindedness. He is searching for those who will say, Lord, not my will, but yours. Not my glory, but yours. Not my success, but the expansion of your kingdom. When he finds such hearts, he pours out in abundance. When he finds such faithfulness, he releases divine favor. When he sees that you are ready to use what he gives for his will, there is no limit to what he will do in your life. Will do in your life. Will do in your life. Will do in your life.